I tell him. So that boy wanted to play
Right.
as a boy, being a girl, when he was really a boy playing as a girl. Some people found out that he is a man now. You heard me? Huh? I was a man now. He's a man now. So you already know, Amber. Eventually, the man's future is gonna finally come out of a what man, right? That phone acting up.
As leader for the last 15 years or so, outside of Barack Obama, one of the other most powerful people in the Democrat Party has been Nancy Pelosi. But not only has Nancy Pelosi been one of the most powerful people in Congress, she's also one of the wealthiest people in Congress. As a matter of fact, did you know they say Nancy Pelosi was voted Wall Street Trader of the Year? You know why? Because this woman's success rate with her husband has been far better than the best experts on Wall Street. Now, how did that happen? I'm a
Fresh
member
meat.
of
Just the
Congress
cycle I wanted.
that
Let's
makes
finish this thing. There's
$174,000
a
a
lot
year
to
salary.
explain, but right now
How do
I
they
think you should get in the
build a
plane I
net
just
worth
stole.
of
It's going through the storm
$207
drain.
million? We're talking about for her lifetime. We're talking about since 2007. Ironically, what happened in 2007? In 2007, Nancy Pelosi became the first female majority whip of the House. Democrat Party was in leadership. She's been the majority whip time. But now the chickens are coming home to roost. When I say the Democrats are having a bad year, they're having a terrible year. Because on the Senate floor, a bill has been introduced. It's the Honest Act. Now, what the Honest Act does, it bans, in the current format, the president, the vice president, members of the Senate, members of Congress, from buying, selling, or trading in stock. Now, there are government officials that hold offices, like the high ranking people that work in offices but not in the Senate or Congress. they're portrayed like mutual funds and things like that, but that's not able to play in the stock. Why is that? It's because you serve on these committees, you have information that other people don't. Now, in this video, I want to show you what happened when Nancy Pelosi calls out and Rick Scott about it. She is going to melt down. An unbelievable fashion. But first, before I get to this article, because as you see, Pelosi crime problems, it's time to ban Congress stock trading. We'll get to this article. But first, I want to let you hear what President Trump did, because outside of Congress that, Rick Scott, the senator from Florida, announced an amendment where they are going to investigate Nancy Pelosi and her husband specifically. This will be an isolated investigation. But guess who it was that tried to be a thorn in the side of the investigation, specifically on Nancy Pelosi? Wait till I show you what that was. You'll be shocked, because there are Republicans that stepped in to block it, and they had some concern. But when you see this person, it won't shock you. But first, let me show you what President Trump had to say. Then I'm going to show you Nancy's meltdown. Check this out.
If you get close enough to the back of the plane, you can
Nancy
remotely
Pelosi
open the door through our
rich
signal box.
By
Right
having
there on
inside
that dash.
information.
Got it?
She made a fortune with her husband, and I think that's disgraceful. So in that sense, I like it, but I'd have to really see, I studied this really carefully. So, it's definitely.
Once you're close enough, use the signal box to start the hack. You gotta stay in range. Then as soon as the door opens, it's mid-air collision time, baby!
Can you hear your voice? I don't know happen, but you know exactly what's going to happen, what's going to be announced by stock, and then the stock goes up after the announcements. And she ought to be investigated. You know, Nancy Pelosi.
You heard the president right there. Said this woman has manipulated her position of power to enrich herself and her family. And how is it that nobody has not even some Republicans have tried to beat it. Look, I got beat down because the Democrats are involved during the fight. And you fight actually Trump, but they was tied up. And the administration was jacked up with wrong people, the rhinos, the Democrats working against them, they couldn't get to that in a real process. That wasn't going to happen. And Trump came under under President Trump. She can see it, her return is not as good. Why? Because she knows that she's trying to get that under his watch. It ain't going to work. So Rick Scott is on the investigation, specifically in Nancy Pelosi. But like I said, there's somebody who tried to block.
Can you fly this thing?
Check this out.
So present, I guess, your arguments for second degree stop warrant.
Sure. So, as we know, we're doing this because we watch people that it sure appears that they have somehow figured out how to make a lot of money off their job up here in Congress. So, my amendment is to
Forget
get a
him, it's
review
the
of all
chemicals we're
the
here for.
trading
Can
by
you land
Nancy
this fucking
Pelosi
thing
and
or
her
not?
husband the last 25 years. I think it's critical to get to the root of why this bill was proposed and get transparency for the American people. I think, I agree that we got to figure out, why people are pressed. I think Speaker Pelosi should be a prime example. So this amendment calls for the Inspector General to issue a GAO report on the Pelosi trading for the last 25 years and report back to the committee within 180 days. I urge my colleagues to support my motion.
Clarification question. This is the report on Nancy Pelosi. Does it include other members of Congress? This is just for Nancy Pelosi. Who got it? We sent a copy right there. I just want to be my computer. Copy. Yeah. We sent my computer and we can pass out copies. I guess my problem is the thing about it is I think it's driven by a lot of, like for example, there are wealthy people in the Senate who we can say, all the money he's got, and they have gotten very rich over the last 20 or 30 years of being in office. But the particular person I'm not going to mention the name is married to a very wealthy woman and her family. And it's like, there is an explanation. But online, everybody's like, how the heck could be so rich? And I worry about targeting one person. I don't say that in a meeting where I just worry about going after one person as opposed to a report on stock investments or more generally than going after one person. But
Okay, I see you.
if you're enjoying this video, just I'll let you that thumbs up because I will never ask you for a cash out or a super chat. But you hitting that like button, it don't spread the information out to other people. And if you want to subscribe to the channel, subscribe. And if you're already subscribed, subscribe it now. Make sure you hit the notification bell and select all. YouTube has been having an issue with sending out notifications unless you select all. And that way, you'll be notified when I upload the video.
Well, I worry about going after the people just looking around at everybody's stock trades and trying to make accusations. The ethics committee kind of does this already, and I assume the ethics committee does it. I hate to go spot into what do you think about it from the ethics perspective?
Now, do you see what I'm talking about? Do you see what I'm talking about? You got Rick Scott.
Where's that fucking Freebird?
Investigate Nancy Pelosi and her husband.
No use
And then
crying
you
over
got
spilled
Rand
shit. We
Paul.
got work to do.
Button in.
Come on.
Cutting it off.
Let me
You
load
think
this
the
stuff
Democrats
in the
would have
truck.
did that? If they singled out Trump or Rand Paul or anybody, no. No member of their own team would have stepped up because you know what that shows? It shows the Democrats' weakness. It shows them that they're not together on this. And they always know in those backdoor meetings, they can always vote for Rand Paul because he's always trying to be a thorn in the side of the
You deal
Republican
with them,
Party.
I'll keep loading the truck.
You heard them, man.
He
Keep
clears
the
it up
fuckers
later
back.
when he says this.
Senator Scott, okay, I withdraw my secondary amendment to Scott 1. I'd like to call up Scott 2. Now,
Can you explain it?
I will call Scott 1. Yeah, Scott 2, this amendment provides for exemption of the President, the Vice President, and the House of Independents. Look, I've been very clear about my concerns about the provisions of the bill to give Democrats no weapons to attack the Vice President Vance after Russiagate, Bacon's impeachment, the basis which on indictments, the last thing we need to do is give Democrats more weapons to attack the President. We can ban stock trading for Congress, but let's still give more weapons to Democrats to attack President Trump. I urge my colleagues to support my amendment.
I will oppose the amendment, not because I want President Trump to be investigated or divested and all the other things I still would do. I'm going to oppose the final bill so I don't want to be included in any of this. But on the amendment, I think it's good for Congress to advise everybody. I go to the president, I go to the courts, I go to all the staff. I put everybody under the more better to discredit. But on this,
Do you hear this guy? You do not make a paid amendment to try to keep the president, vice president out of this because we know once they decide that they're going to investigate the Democrats on the channel, all of their energy to President Trump, J.D. Vance, for a whole bunch of nothing just to get the media and all of that spun up. And who jumps in? Rand Paul. He says, well, I'm not opposing it because, just posting it. I'm opposing it because I don't want it to happen to the president. So I'm going to post it. But it's been enough time for everybody to see it. You hear that dumb talk? That man is a freaking snake. Yeah. I told you this off. Makes you wonder if who's seen Rand Paul. We don't remember Rand Paul is a disciple of this senator. And it's also a very, he's a mentor to Thomas Massey, a Kentucky congressman. For the trifecta there in Washington is Massey, Paul, and Thomas. He's called for this massive crap like, just this great guy about letting it go. He's doing everything he can to get going on President Trump's side because he knows Trump doesn't like him, Trump doesn't like Rand Paul. Ever since President Trump called Rand Paul criticized him in the 2016 election campaign, he's been after that man. He's seen him walk the floor since he's been in office. But he hides it like, I'm so concerned. But everybody in. He wants this. And the fact that he's the chairman of this debate makes me sick. It's on my nerves. Now, let's look at Nancy Pelosi as she goes on to CNN for 6 hours. And she expected a softball interview, right? But that's not what she got. Do you know they say that Nancy Pelosi allegedly made over $42 million in 2024? Again, the woman did better than every investor on Wall Street. Because but check this out, her mind.
yeah, I just read what he said. I'm sorry that you guys Nancy Pelosi rich.
I can't believe that talk about the 60th anniversary of Leonard Day. That's what I agree on the problem.
Yeah, but I wanted
In the election.
to give you the chances to respond. You face with inside creative. What's your response?
And it's ridiculous. In fact, I I very much support the stop as a trading of members of Congress. Not that I think anybody's doing anything wrong. If they are, they are prosecuted and they go to jail. But because of the confidence and it's still people don't know a lot about this. But I have no and some about the investments or I've been there over time. I'm not into it personally, but it isn't anything to do with anything inside it. But the president is his own exposure, so he's always projecting. He's always projecting. And let's not take any more time on that, please. We have to here, and I'm very proud of my back in. While he might make fun of us, while somebody's inspired by inspiration for our home and his mind, as if the passion to find out over the head, she thinks that's a body. I'd rather not go into some of my other complaints about him right now. Rather than talk about the 60th anniversary of Medicaid.
Now, you know what's funny? Hey, let's not go back. This is the same woman that every chance she got loved to bring up January 6 years later. This is the same woman that's still up there ripping up the State of the Union speech, grandstanding for Democrats during President Trump's first term when they knew they had formulated a budget. This is the same woman who all she does is talk about how Trump's going to go the 2020 election and blah, 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 and he's a sore loser, blah, blah. They love to revisit history, except for when it's their history. It's all about you. We're here. In other words, they see it. Don't try to do your job that you never do. And I can't see it here. Because, maybe this had been a year or two ago under Biden regime. They would have never asked her that. But they know they're losing viewers watching because every time they have Democrat on, they never push back. Lincoln had been a Republican and trying to say that. They would have kept going, and they would have cut that Republican off and wouldn't have allowed them to retract. And she brought up that situation with the hammer and the husband. You know what's funny? That man was a leftist radical.
And he's stupid.
He wasn't a Trump supporter, he wasn't a Republican. Not only that, the weird thing is, Paul Pelosi was in his home wearing underwear, and he and the man opened the door together. It's not there. It's on the police. You know what Paul Pelosi does? Everything's all right. Blood running down his head.
It's recognized that it's important to project by the Scott and Harvey did for the man in the home that he was safe for his wife. Harvey did it up with the man that made my and then he was friends. March 12 over back up.
Yeah, code 3 is 2640 Broadway from Worth now.
Good day, roll cover.
Everyone calling 50 year marking 2640 Broadway.
What's going on, man?
Into position.
Drop the hand.
This is all a misunderstanding.
And there was some funny stuff going on with these OCP. And maybe somebody didn't want to meet somebody, or somebody wanted to do something a little freaky, and the other person comes through it. And hopefully it kind of just go along. Or maybe they stayed with the whole thing because this dude was black man. All I know is that they snatched him up and took him off somewhere. You never heard of this man again. Don't you think if this had been a Republican house, if this had been Peter Mike Johnson's home, or Ted Cruz's home, that the media was harping on this nonsense in prison, these stories, ain't it funny that nobody has been spoken to this man to get his side of the story? Like the White Show, Nancy Pelosi home, Speaker of the House, with her husband, him in underwear, and both Bill Jackson standing right next to him. The police they called him out. Now let's check out this other clip that breaks down more about the Pelosi and her husband situation with their net worth of over $200 million. Check out this News Nation.
whopping
Okay, here's my
$38
suggestion.
million
We
in
lay
stock
low
trades.
for a while. By
What's in it,
which I mean
Bobby?
sit in the freak
Paul
shop
didn't
and
walk.
start mainlining
Now,
the
because
good
Paul
shit
Pelosi
until we
deserves
forget
to
how
go.
our feet
He's
work.
married.
Who's
Over
with
Speaker
me?
Nancy Pelosi, they're required to disclose their collective stock trades, and Paul has never written that for it. On December 31st, 2024, he sold $24 million worth of Apple stock, and on the same day, he also sold $5 million worth of artificial intelligence computer chip maker NVIDIA. The stock was 138, so Pelosi sells $5 million worth of stock. Today, less than a month later, it's closed at 118, a 13% drop since Pelosi unloaded. Now, here's where it gets tricky. Apparently, the stock trading prowess of the Pelosi family is so widely known that there is an X account called the Nancy Pelosi Stock Tracker. Close to 900,000 followers can keep tabs on what the Pelosi's are buying and selling, presumably in order to copycat their own way to financial success. And that could be making the Pelosi trades have even more of an impact on the market. Nancy Pelosi's been asked a number of times over the years whether or not Congress and their spouses investing in the market is sort of conflict of interest. This is
Come shot
2021.
in the best porno ever made. I love you. You know that, right? Don't ever forget me unless you're really fucking high and you don't even know you're
This is
human
a free
anymore,
market
okay?
and people,
Okay?
we have a free market economy that should be able to participate in that.
So that was her response. So let's get back to the article here. Pelosi's prime profits prove it's time to ban Congress stock trading. Gee, look at that. Nancy and Paul Pelosi had yet another lucky year on the stock market in 2024. What will it take for Congress to crack down on its members' insider trading? New required disclosures show the former House Speaker and her hubby raked in $7.8 million to $42.5 million last year. You notice how now they put a range from 7 to, we know it's more like the 42, bumping their estimated net worth to as much as $413 million. Here I was thinking it was only 270. It's $413 million. The law doesn't make them share exact numbers. And a good chunk of that eye-popping wealth comes from their impressive stock portfolio, which is so consistently lucrative that the entire social media accounts are dedicated to tracking the Pelosi's buys and sells. Nancy maintains that she owns no stocks, it's all hubby Paul, and says a mouthpiece, she has no prior knowledge or subsequent involvement in any transaction. Now we know that that's BS, which even if she said that herself under oath, leaves plenty of room for Paul to trade on the basis of insider information. Whether things she learns on the job or info fed to either of them for favors past, present, or future from the ex-speaker. Certainly, Paul has made some uncannily sharp moves in the markets. In fact, his portfolio outperformed every major hedge fund last year. In July, he sold 5,000 shares of Microsoft months before the Federal Trade Commission announced an antitrust investigation into the company. And he dumped 2,000 Visa shares months before the Justice Department sued the company for allegedly monopolizing the debit card market. If he were an average Joe, the Security and Exchange Commission would be picking through his records for the fine stone, because that kind of foresight reeks of insider information, insider knowledge. Fine. Maybe Paul is a modern-day Nostradamus, somehow working his market magic without the least bit of impropriety. But it sure is fishy for any top official family member to pull in millions this way year after year after year. We doubt our proof will ever come to light. The Pelosi's are far too smart to leave a clear trail. But they are only the most notable examples of the game. Lawmakers on both sides of the aisle regularly make good money on the market. The portfolios of dozens of Democrats and Republicans in Congress beat the S&P 500 in 2024, according to Watchdog's Unusual Whale. Wow. Our congressional members beat the S&P 500. This is crazy. That shouldn't even be legal. I hope they do ban it. Maybe they're just really good at making trades, but the simple fact is that neither the House nor Senate does anything serious to prevent such abuse of privileged information. Even if all, or the majority, don't use that knowledge, allowing them to make trades offers too many opportunities for corruption. And when they keep scoring big on market bets for decades, a la the Pelosi's, it rings. House Speaker Mike Johnson and Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries have both signaled they would support a ban on professional stock trading, the kind that Nancy Pelosi blocked repeatedly as speaker. Getting that passed before next year's midterm should be a priority for Republicans. Clear proof that they want to clean the crime. If a career in the House no longer makes it easy to get rich, the next potential Pelosi might just go into an entirely different line of work. But then you have, we got the Pelosi, we got the Democrat Party is corrupt. And I get it. Most people on both sides are making trade. And you know, I don't think there's anything wrong with modern trading. But when you go from $174,000 salary to being worth $413 million, you're the majority whip, the Speaker of the House. We know, how do we know who you're playing for? Are you passing legislation and bringing things up to the court for your corporate partners, giving you inside track, or are you working for your constituents? And based on the way California looks, based on the results of California, based on her nephew, they said no, Gavin Newsom is Nancy Pelosi's nephew. Based on the results of her and her nephew, the way that they handle the state of California, I think we know who they are concerned about ignorance. It's definitely not the constituent. California has the highest tax, the highest gas, the highest housing costs, the highest homeless, the highest, they got the highest everything, but none of the good things. Everything bad, they got it. High crime, all of that. Sanctuary City, they got it. Lawlessness, we saw it. So Nancy Pelosi get rich while people in her state go broke. And I hope this thing passes. And as for Rand Paul, if you live in Kentucky, I hope you spread the word. Get that man out. As a matter of fact, from what I understand, he's going to be primary. He's making primary in Kentucky. We'll see what happens. So, hey, if you come out and watch the video up to this point, I thank you sincerely from the top and bottom of my heart. I'm in heaven already. Please hit that like button, subscribe, and most importantly, I want you to stay safe and be great. I'm Brian Maxwell, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Over and out, y'all.
From Lefties of movement and movements of Lefties feeling rise and dark times and generally behaving in unconventional primarily marvel and mock the sheer shameless stupidity of the modern left daily. In this program, we've almost become desensitized to the insanity that even our people was taken aback, sickened by this demented diatribe from MSNBC's Nicole Wallace. Watch as she turns a beautiful moment into something unhinged and ugly. Let's first have a look at the beautiful moment.
Joining us in the gallery tonight is a young man who truly loves our police. His name is DJ Daniel. He is 13 years old and he has always dreamed of becoming a police officer. 2018, DJ was diagnosed with brain cancer. The doctors gave him 5 months at most to live. And tonight, DJ, we're going to do you the biggest honor of them all. I am asking our new Secret Service Director, Sean Curran, to officially make you an agent of the United States Secret Service.
They broken soul to turn that beautiful moment into something ugly, but that's precisely what Nicole Wallace did. Watch her, she starts off pretty well, but...
You're through, boss.
The TVS kicks in.
Your helicopter will be with you directly.
She's straight into what is losing their course. I think this was a lesson in finding one thing that you let yourself feel, and I let myself feel joy about DJ, and I hope he's alive for another, 95 years. I hope he lives, and the life he wants to live. He wants to be a cop. He knows what he wants to do.
Please clear the landing area.
Cancer that crystallizes for you, and I hope he has a long life as a law enforcement officer. But I hope he never has to defend the United States Capitol against Donald Trump supporters. And if he does, I hope he isn't one of the 6 who loses his life to suicide. And I hope he isn't one who has to testify against the people who carried out acts of seditious conspiracy and live to see Donald Trump.
Welcome aboard. I got it from here. Work.
My shit should feel like horse shit.
We'll get there soon.
Because the truth is the truth. They lied and it was wrong about every fucking thing.
I'll whenever
just
you
saying.
need me.
Time for the whole these lies accountable for just that, being a bunch of fucking liars. Shit.
Good to see you, boss.
I'm Mr. Glass
Oh,
48.
hi. So long.
01 at 10. Straight.